You're watching KRDO 13 News at 4 p.m., continuing at 4:30.
And thanks for staying with us on KRDO 13 and on KRDO News Radio. I'm Bart Bedsole. Back to the forecast at 4:30. Still quite a few clouds hanging around on our ABBA eye care camera in northeast Colorado Springs, looking back towards the mountains, but not nearly the chilly, overcast conditions we saw over the weekend, not to mention some snow for some folks. Mary leads us off with a look at some of those minor changes coming tomorrow. Mary.
Yeah, Bart, if you like spring in Colorado and you like the 60s, maybe just where it should be for this time of year, you're going to love Tuesday because the cold front that's coming through right now is just going to keep our temperatures a little bit milder. So it's not going to come with the kind of jarring shot of cold air that we had late last week and into the weekend, but it will kind of just knock our temperatures back down. Tell them settle down just a little bit because we were in the 70s, 80s today. So, you know, for some folks, that's a little much this time of year. And by climate standards and where we should be, it's about 10 to 12 degrees warmer than where we should be. So you'll notice that little front moving through right now, kind of pushing those winds out of the north. It's actually kicking up a little dust and dirt right here across parts of southeastern El Paso County, and it stretches back across Lincoln County as well. So that's going to look at that leading little gust front moving through. So it's kicking up the winds. You can see Lyman and Lincoln County where we're looking at more clouds and sunshine. You can see just a few little showers off in the distance there. That is, of course, showing up on the radar as well. We are expecting a few more little stray showers across the region kind of associated with this same front later this evening. Temperatures running in the 70s right now in the Springs, 85 in Pueblo, and 88 for Lamar. So it's been pretty warm across the region. It's about a 23-degree difference at this hour versus this time yesterday. So even though it was a little bit warmer yesterday, boy, we've bumped up 23, 24 degrees over the last 24 hours. That's pretty impressive. There's a look at the cold front. You can see some of the little scattered showers kind of precipitating from the cloud cover east of I-25 and east of the Denver area. That cold front completes its journey across the state later tonight, and it will, of course, still kick up a few little stray showers for the eastern plains, but no widespread severe weather expected. You'll still wake up with some sunshine south of Colorado Springs. North of Colorado Springs and up into parts of the Palmer Divide, you may see some cloud cover tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to see a few more storms pop on the radar. So some thunderstorms are expected for tomorrow. Temperatures tonight with the cold front coming in, you really won't notice a huge difference. 30s and low 40s. It's a pretty weak little front. Will give us some 40s across portions of the eastern plains. Tomorrow, a little cooler in the 50s and 60s. We'll talk more about your Tuesday forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Sounds good, Mary. Thanks. Today, students from Harrison School District 2 got the opportunity to speak with an astronaut. It was part of an effort to get kids interested in STEM programs, meaning science, technology, engineering, and math. KRDO 13's Andrea Herrera was there. She joins us with this absolutely Colorado story. Andrea.
Getting to talk to an astronaut is enough to excite most kids, but getting to talk to an astronaut while they're in space, that's something special that a group of kids at Harrison District 2 will remember forever.
Hi, my name is Fiona, and how did it feel to walk in space?
Hello, Fiona. You may be surprised to find out that we don't really walk in space. We kind of float in space, so we don't really walk, but floating feels amazing.
The project itself took around 9 months.
I've done that for Thrive Academy, was this latest one. That's how I got involved in this. And they went and asked me if I'd go and help them out.
David Moulter works at the Pikes Peak Radio Amateur Association. He says he first started his career because of curiosity. Now, Moulter, along with other community members, are teaming up to make sure kids in southern Colorado get to experience the true beauty of space.
That's another great question.
It was really exciting. It was also really nerve-wracking, just the feeling of I'm talking to an astronaut on the space station.
Fiona Hull is in 7th grade, and her dream is to one day go to space. She was one of the 8 lucky kids who directly asked some questions.
That's a great question.
Some of the questions kids got to ask had to do with muscle mass in space, growing plants inside an aircraft, and why food tastes different in space.
They see pictures of them exercising in space, and that's where David's question came from. They learned about just different aspects of life on the space station. They used the district's VR goggles, and they got to be on the space station in that respect, and so they got to kind of simulate being on the space station themselves.
Today's activity lasted about 5 to 7 minutes until the astronauts were no longer in frequency. But that moment, Hull says, will be engraved into her memories for a lifetime.
It was just like a moment, like just like this, like ominous, like, oh my gosh,
The whole idea is to get them interested in technology, whether it's computer science, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, any of the sciences, to get in there and use their knowledge that they gain. And you can make the world a lot better place from all that.
If you wish to know more about this program, we have details on how you can get involved on KRDO right now. Reporting in studio, Andrea Herrera, KRDO 13.
Absolutely Colorado is a partnership in your community between KRDO and Gold Hill Mesa.
A Colorado woman is sending thanks to a Good Samaritan after that person rescued her from beneath her truck. She says she was stuck for hours before finally being rescued. Sam Pena reports.
She came straight off right through that thicket over there.
When he arrived for work last week at the Fox Hollow Golf Course, Steve Abraham was greeted with this.
Our truck was upside down.
A truck that crashed through the course's barbed wire fence.
Came around the front.
And inside.
And she was pinned by the truck, and her leg was across like this, and she was laying in the barbed wire fence.
Rachel Hammock, the truck's driver, who was heading home from work in the early morning hours.
She had been here probably 4 hours.
Steve helped care for Rachel before first responders arrived.
I was getting the barbed wire kind of away from her body. I had to cut her hair out because she was stuck in there.
And at St. Anthony's Hospital, she was placed in a medically induced coma.
The doctor called, went through all the injuries, one at a time. I had to ask her just pause, because I need a minute, and I really did. I was just imagining everything that she went through.
Rachel's parents, Sam and Thomas, flew in from South Carolina after getting a call from her boyfriend, Eben.
All I could think is I need to get to my girl.
Sam is now doing her best to help Rachel recover, even placing her favorite childhood toy by her bedside.
She's strong and that she'll come through, so I'm just trying my best to stay positive.
Rachel underwent surgery last Thursday and is now starting her recovery process.
It's going to get her back to skiing and hula hooping and rock climbing and all the stuff that she loves to do.
Positive signs for her loved ones who are relieved.
We know she's going to recover, and she's going to have an amazing story.
And thankful.
We appreciate prayers, and we have hope.
For those who saved their daughter's life.
Glad that she's able to be alive and be with her family and continue life.
For Denver 7, I'm Sam Pena.
President Biden traveled to Triangle, Virginia today to mark Earth Day by unveiling $7 billion in grant funding for solar power under the Inflation Reduction Act. He'll also announce new efforts to get federal jobs for graduates of the American Climate Corps, a training program popular with youth climate groups. Biden will speak from Virginia's Prince William Forest Park. The site was developed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt's Civilian Conservation Corps, on which the American Climate Corps is modeled. Today's Earth Day is a movement to help raise awareness for protecting our environment. This year's theme, Plant versus Plastics, is a call to reduce the plastic production by 60% by the year 2040. And children across the country are helping move towards that goal. ABC's chief climate correspondent, Ginger Z, explains how elementary students are demonstrating the power of humans.
The school cafeteria might seem like just a place to eat, but for these students, the learning hasn't stopped.
When we use plastic, they send it over to like factories and they burn it, and it affects like the ecosystem.
It's Plastic-Free Lunch Day at this school in Brooklyn, New York. The plastic-free lunch movement all started in 2018 after fifth graders advocated for the change.
And they started to ask a question. wow, this is a zero-waste school, but how can it be a zero-waste school when we have so much plastic in our lunches? So much plastic packaging.
Rhonda Kaiser is the program director at Cafeteria Culture, an organization that facilitates plastic-free lunch day. She says the initiative has grown exponentially. Now, one day a month, schools across New York City go plastic-free during lunch. That means they don't use any single-use plastic like utensils or packaging. Reusable trays are ideal, but since this school doesn't have a dishwasher, they're using compostable plates and composting them the right way. The menu, modified. Handheld foods like sandwiches and veggies that they can dip.
Bananas, cauliflower, cucumbers, and broccoli.
19 school districts across the country have joined.
The reach of Plastic-Free Lunch Day has been enormous. Just the data from New York City schools, from the 16 Plastic-Free Lunch Days, we've reduced more than 13 million single-use plastic items from the waste stream.
A review published by the National Institutes of Health revealed that public schools in the U.S. generate about 14,500 tons of municipal solid waste every day, and approximately 42% of that is packaging generated by schools' food service. If your kids pack a lunch for school, there are ways to reduce plastic there, too. So we invested in this bento box that is aluminum. Cleans up really nicely. It's even dishwasher safe, but we mostly hand wash it. No microplastics shedding into my kids' food, and I don't have to have that ugly habit of buying plastic baggies. The kids know they're making a difference.
I think it's important. That's why I think more schools should do it.
We're definitely not going to stop until it's Plastic-Free Lunch Day every day.
With this Climate Minute, I'm Ginger Z.
The Supreme Court is hearing a case involving so-called ghost guns this week, why the controversial weapon kits are making their way to the highest court in the land. Also ahead, the Biden administration is finalizing new staffing rules for nursing home employees across the country. Find out the new requirements